TicTalk, 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 talk.
A real Celtic talk show by real Celtic fans from the Carluke Shamrock Supporters Club on HailHailMedia.
TicTalk, 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 talk.
Hail, hail, and welcome to TicTalk with the Carluke Shamrock Celtic Supporters Club. My name's Vincent. This podcast is being recorded on Wednesday the 4th of December. You can find more information about the club at carlukeshamrock.com and details of the podcast and the other Celtic family podcasts at HailHailMedia.com. On the podcast tonight, we'll be looking back at the exit from Europe against AC Milan, the 7-0 trouncing of the Jambos, and we'll look forward to the Motherwell game on Friday night. We'll then round that off with some hot topics and news and our usual shambolic shenanigans. So tonight on our panel we have
Brian, Kevin,
Kev. So we're going to differentiate between Kev and Kevin. Kevin is our long-standing podcast
long-standing
panel.
pain in the arse.
Long-standing pain in the arse, and we've got a new pain in the arse called Kev.
I just think that's Kev and Grey Kev.
We could go with that.
Can I just say these sweeties are not conducive to being
To
a podcast
podcasting.
because I'm going ready to chunk.
Can you just tell the listeners what we've got tonight, Kevin?
Turnips tea cakes and some
Tea cakes.
cheap and nasty boiled sweeties that on the back of it says you shouldn't give them to kids because they go really rental.
No, I think you'll find it's the winter mixture, which is quite appropriate.
18 packs for
Yes.
50p's that.
It's the £1.
I think that be the acid. I'm ready to spit this one out. It's rotten.
Oh, well, there we are.
In the morning.
That's thanks for you, Kev, know what I mean?
Anyway, no, they're
Thanks for you.
delicious. Thanks, Vincent.
No, don't mention it. Okay, so we'll kick off with the AC Milan game, and I'll give you the team, which has been double verified.
There we go.
Double verified.
I don't know how many times I've heard this. It's definitely the right
Right,
team.
it's definitely. I know there's 12 players, but it's the right team.
Marshall and goals.
We've got Marshall and goals.
Any show I've listened to, I don't think you've had it right, any show.
This one's definitely right. We've got Foster, Lustig, Ambrose, Van Dijk, Izagiri, and he went with Forrest, Kajal, Mulgrew, Borichter, Commons, Samaras. Get in there. That was the right team, wasn't it?
Well, I think we should just stop now and head off home.
So, definitely a bit of a surprise, I think, in terms of team selection. I'm just going to ask each of you, how did you actually feel beforehand? How confident were you, and how did it pan out for you? Brian, you want to start? Well, I can get one of these teacup.
Turn X.
How did you feel beforehand?
Just during the day, I had a busy day at work, and leading up to, I didn't have much time to think about it. And then I got to the stadium, really looking forward to the game. Wasn't too confident, I have to say. But then get the news just before the game at Paul Lennon had dropped dead earlier that day, and I have to say it knocked me for six a wee bit, put me in a bit of a downer for the game, and I couldn't really concentrate on it. It was.
You knew him quite well, yeah?
Tragic. I met him a few times, and he'd helped me out with a couple of things when he was working at the Citizens Advice over in Hamilton, and I had spoke to him on Friday night at the thing at Blantyre in the Columba Club. It was just devastating. Real shock, really hit me. But I mean, going back to the game, I wasn't in the best frame of mind in terms of the football, and when I seen the team, I thought it was quite attacking. I have to say, I've not seen. I think Borichter is good in flashes, but he hides an awful lot.
I think that's an understatement.
Hides. He's got good pace, but doesn't make himself available. Doesn't look for the ball. Doesn't look to take responsibility. Do you know? And Kajal, similarly, he's no the player we thought he was for the first 6 months or so before when he was in the team before Wanyama.
Right.
He kept Wanyama out of the team.
That's right.
And so I have to say I wasn't overly confident. I didn't buy into the whole we're facing. I think Kevin had mentioned it before. I didn't buy into the whole AC Milan struggling. Right? in the first 10 minutes, you see the space that Kaká was finding, and I mean, just different classy quality all over the pitch. I thought you've got white stuff in your lips. I just hope it's a tea cake. And
keep it clean, son.
Keep it clean. But aye, so to answer your question, wasn't that confident, and wasn't really up for it just due to the circumstances of the day.
And I felt,
what about you, Kim?
we got a doing. I wanted the game just after, with 30 minutes to go, I just wanted the final whistle to go. You just didn't want to be there. Obviously stayed to the end, as I always do, but hated it from the pivotal moment of the game was obviously Van Dijk's missing 47 minutes. Keeper didn't know anything about the save, it just hit off from me, actually hit it too well. They go down the park, and 2 minutes later, another corner, dreadful goal to lose again, the same as it was on the first one. And talking about Kaká, I was very critical of probably Chris Commons, but I was very critical of Lennon's team. I felt it was the wrong team, completely the wrong team. I don't know what Forrest had done to justify his selection in the team, because he'd obviously missed a number of games. Also, Bo-Richter had only really come on and played the last 20 minutes, 25 minutes against Aberdeen. I didn't think it was the right team, and I think Common struggles against that level of opposition. That's what I've taken from a few of the Champions League games this season. He's very good at being a player. He's probably our most creative player, or one of our most creative players when he's playing well. I just felt he doesn't have the legs for that class of opposition. And when Brian's talking about Kaká, I equate it to Sunday when he was absolutely fantastic against Hearts, and he was finding the pockets, the space against Hearts, and who are a lesser quality than us, as Kaká was against us, because we are lesser quality than Milan. And we're always going to be struggling to kind of continue to punch above our weight against an opposition like that. I mean, we've got Balotelli there, shrugged off the big man for the third goal. And you look at that, I mean, much did they pay for him? 20 million or something like that? You just can't compete with that. In reality, aye, absolutely. So,
I mean, I felt, certainly in hindsight, I guess it's easy in hindsight to look at the tactics and think he got it wrong. And it wasn't that I was caught up on it, but actually I remember looking at the team and thinking, bloody hell, it's a risk, and he was definitely going for it. But I think a few of the other podcasts, when they'd kind of analysed it, thinking if you're going to play with they two guys in the wing, then you're almost negating your full-backs getting forward, and that's what ended up happening. And you look at Bo-Richter, he didn't know what to do with Izagiri. He was kind of
often filling his space.
Aye, and he was getting on the road, and then in actual fact, the more it didn't go for him, the more he started. I actually watched him on about 3 or 4 occasions, making sure he was almost behind an AC Milan player, so he wasn't getting the ball. You know, so he's obviously got no confidence. He wasn't.
But you look at the whole midfield. I mean, Bo-Richter on the left. Forrest on the right, neither of them, in my opinion, contributed anything. And then you've got through the centre, Charlie Mulgrew. We've spoken about Charlie being a kind of American place kicker almost. If you could wheel him on and off,
quarterback,
you kind of would. But against that opposition, I don't think he's a central midfielder anyway. He played well again on Sunday and was pinging the ball about, was given all the time in the world to do it. And then Kyle, so you've got a midfield 4 there, which really struggled. And then up front, how often have we said Samaras isn't an out front man? I mean, I would far rather have had Samaras on the left, not play Bo-Richter, and then do something else up front to support the forward line. I just don't see Sammy.
But if you put him up there, but you put him up there less with the idea that he needs to stay static in the middle. The times I've saw him play well up there is when he's just been allowed to run ragged, you know, almost just pull the centre backs all over the place if he could. What was your own thoughts, Kev?
Well, similar to Brian, I had a bit of a stressful day at work, so I didn't kind of see the usual kind of Champions League day build up. Wasn't feeling it at all. Couldn't get in
So it was your fault.
I don't want to say it was my fault. I blame Brian as well, but I had a stressful day at work. I was running late, so I left Killook at 6:30. So I ran a wee bit late. On my way into the game, I found out that Kelly had crashed her car coming home from work.
Jeez.
So I wasn't in the best frame of mind. So, due to the ridiculous queues at the turnstiles, and I don't know what the reason for that was. Apparently there was something happened in London Road, but
Alright,
I don't know if any of you experienced it, but I was there.
I was alright.
About just after 25-2. I didn't get in until just after 10-2. So I missed that full I missed the Champions League theme and all the rest of it. For me, the full event was just a damp squib.
Right.
From start to finish.
You're missing that bit as well.
Because I didn't have much time to think about it, I wouldn't say I was confident, but I wouldn't say I wasn't confident either. But like Kevin said earlier, 60 minutes you wanted it to finish.
Aye.
And I can't remember the last Champions League group game. Well, Juventus last year, the last Champions League group game where you actually wanted to go home.
Aye.
And I think that just sums it up.
I mean, the goals are lost.
The goals were just
terrible,
shocking,
man.
you know, and actually, and there's been loads of debates, I guess, about zonal marking. But actual fact, I think that's a bit of a red herring. I just think guys weren't doing what they were supposed to do. Do you know what I mean? I know there is pockets that you can find and exploit and all of that crime, and if you put the ball into the right area, but zonal marking doesn't mean that you don't pick up runners. That's not what zonal marking is. And Kaka's standing there himself.
Did you say he's peeled off? Didn't know.
I don't even know if he did peel off. It looked as if he was static.
He was just standing
right
there.
Put it on his nut.
See, where we sit in that north stand, so it's upper tiers on the halfway line. As the ball was probably being floated in over the 18-yard line, you could actually see it. It was like slow motion because you just like, no. The ball was on his own. The ball was going, and it was almost, and you knew it was going to evade everybody. He was just going into our position, and it was in slow motion, and it was so surreal that the way it happened. You were almost saying no as soon as the ball was halfway towards him in the air.
And it's similar to the other one where you saw the guy peeling to the back post, and you're just thinking, has nobody seen this? Am I the only guy that's seen this? Except everybody saw it apart from it.
I think the unfortunate thing was the Van Dijk chance just before they scored their second goal. 9 times out of 10, any other night, that goes in.
Even if he mishits it, it goes in. You know what I mean? He hit it so well, it just
straight to
motored
and if that does go in, it's a totally different.
It does. Totally different. 40, that was 47 minutes. You've got 43 minutes, and the place was absolutely rocking. And then within 2 minutes, you're 2 goals down,
and actually the psychology of getting the first goal against them, given the kind of season that they've had, and so the psychology would have been perfect for us, whereas the opposite was the case. They grew in confidence because they'd got the first goal, and then they started to play well. I
even think I've not seen it on the telly, I've not even watched any of the telly again, but with the Van Dijk, the header, I don't know if it was offside or not, but even then at 2-1 with half an hour plus to go, if that goes in, it's still got a chance.
I thought it was offside, right enough. I thought marginally offside. But I was a bit the same. I've got to say, I've not enjoyed any of the home Champions League games this season at all. Not one of them. It's just been. I don't know why. It just the way of the lead up to them always working and scrambling about to get the bus, and I've just the Ajax game was horrible. I didn't enjoy the Barcelona game because I think we just gave Ajax too much of the ball, in my opinion, as well. And other people will say, well, we got the results, so the tactics were right. I'm just no comfortable, and I know come on to the Hearts game, but I'm just not comfortable when teams just allowing teams to have as much of the ball as they want. And maybe I would need to mature my outlook in terms of European football,
but this game was almost the opposite, because he's tried something different there. He's not gave up possession. We had more of the possession. He's tried something different. He's tried to, attack them, and actually it's really just backfired. So in retrospect, you're kind of thinking, well, you got it completely wrong. Do we have to play the way that isn't particularly attractive? But in end up, we didn't play well at all.
No, from start to finish.
But we made it easy for AC Milan. AC Milan, that's not a great AC Milan team. No. By any stretch of the imagination.
But they're significantly better than us.
But when I've seen the two teams on Twitter on the way in, with the names in their team sheet, Balotelli, Kaka, De Jong, how can you know? I mean, that's still quality.
Aye, definitely.
That is.
And we had Forrest who hasn't played for weeks. We've got Richter who's been injured and hasn't probably played any more than a combined 180 minutes over the full season. You've got a centre back as a centre midfielder. You've got a player that's only playing because Scott Brown is injured, and then you've got arguably your most influential player playing at a position that the vast majority of fans just don't think that suits him or that he's effective in. You look at that. I mean, I actually feel sorry for, in a strange way. I feel that consistently this season the best part of our team has been the defence. As Gary's starting to look like the player he was when we were when we signed him. Lustig is playing out his skin just now. Big Effie and Van Dijk are the best centre defensive partnership that I've seen, and I'm 42, so 40 years watching Celtic, and I feel sorry that they end up losing 3 goals.
Right.
It's a bit harsh on them if you look at it, because you think the goalkeeper and the defence must have been poor, but the goals they lost were not great, but I feel sorry for them.
Yeah, it's an argument for Forster to maybe control his. My frustration with Forster is that if I was that size, you would expect him to come out and just clatter everything in front of him, but he seems to be hesitant to do that.
Well, he lost a poor goal against Aberdeen, didn't he, where he didn't take command of the situation. He came out when it was never his ball and tried. I mean, he might have actually been able to reach through the ruck of players and grasp the ball, but he tried that whole punching thing and it didn't go anywhere. So, I don't know. I seen a tweet. I can't even think when the timescales associated were. Probably after the Milan game, where Graham from Beyond the Waves had said, "Oh, I'm going to get my tin helmet on here, but I think we should get rid of Foster in January, not because we want the money, but because I think his value might end up going down." And I think there's merit in that when I consider when we could have got Boric 9 million or 7, 8, 9 million a few years ago. We kept him for an extra season and then we ended up getting $1.5 million for him or something like that.
Was,
and during that season he was poor, so it's about understanding and realising your assets.
That was the Parrots exclusive transfer news on the Homeboys last night. What night was it? Last night, Monday night? That was apparently said he knew someone, the brother of the interpreter, the Spanish interpreter for Celtic going to Barcelona, and that was the speculation that they were looking to sign the wall, and maybe in January.
Yeah, I mean, I would be very surprised if he went to Barcelona, but
2 of his best performances have been against Barcelona.
He's had a lot of good performances.
I still think he's an outstanding keeper.
And he's still a young man, do you know what I mean? But the reality of the situation is we're on a hiding to nothing, because I can't see his value being higher in leaving us than it is now. I think it can only go down the way, either because his contract goes down, or because he doesn't continue to play at the level, or because he's not playing in the Champions League type level. He's not getting exposure, so his value will just naturally decrease. I don't think we would ever get more than £8 million for a goalkeeper, and if you do, it's going to be 9 million. It's not going to be 15 million in this time next season. So I just think the time might be right to actually realise.
If you're going to maximise your assets, then I guess for him, I agree with you. I mean, I think he's a great keeper. I think he's still got a bit of development today, and that's the one area.
Aye, that's his biggest weakness, is not coming out.
Apparently, what he's discovered since he came to Celtic was that he was left-footed, and he didn't know he was left-footed. That was his strength. That was quite a strange one, actually.
So you're obviously watching. It was
what was it?
It was a Sunday morning goals or something like that on Sky. Chris Kamara and Ben Shepherd. Neil Lennon was on it. I'm sure it was that.
Apparently Lennon was brilliant.
Oh, it was great. So it was like an hour. It's an hour and a half programme, and it was the international weekend.
Right.
So normally then they break it up with showing lots of the goals for the Premiership and Scotland and stuff like that. But because there was very little football and it was some Championship goals, so it was like an hour and a half just conversation with Neil Lennon, and there was like the usual emails and texts in, and the boys like, I'm a Rangers fan and I want Neil Lennon to stop speaking right now. And well, so my reaction, hearing that was a bit the same as yours. Like, here we go. But he's like, I'm starting to like him, and he makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? So it was actually really good. I've got taped up by the way because I left the house part of the way through.
I'd quite like to see that.
I know it was really
And was that where it came out that he was left-footed?
Aye, because they were talking about Foster, and he's like, when he came, he was inspired. I don't know if he's left-handed and everything else he does or something like that. So, but coming up, you know, it's like everyone's forced. If you right with your left hand, you go to primary school, they try to get you to right with your change to your your right hand because the world is right-handed. So it was Neil Lennon has mentioned that, so it was really good. But I think I move on to the Milan game. I think.
Well, the final thing I just wanted to talk very briefly about was just on the banner display. What was your thoughts on that, guys? Because I know it's caused plenty of consternation amongst the ranks. You want to kick off, Kev? What's your feelings about it?
It's hard to say. This is probably one of the most controversial topics we could talk about here. I'm split. I'm 50-50.
Aye.
I don't think it's got any place at the stadium, but I agree with the sentiments of the banner. But I don't think. I think even no matter how strong you feel about it, if it's going to affect Celtic and Celtic are getting punished because of it, surely Celtic comes first.
It's a whole context of so there's lots of people there that I would think. So Celtic had a crowd of 60,000. There was the average crowds are probably closer to 40,000 just now, and you might say at times it's closer to 35,000. There's lots of people there that I think will comment on that don't understand the context of what it's trying to address around about defensive behaviour at Football Act. There is probably a bit of a challenge in that it seems to me that UEFA's rules and regulations of competition are much clearer on this type of thing than
the political aspect.
In fact, so they've not. UEFA have not come out and said that banner was wrong. What they've said is there's right or wrong. It's not up to them to decide. It's about the fact it was political in nature. So anyone that says, "Oh, there's UEFA punishing them because they don't agree with it," or anything like that, is absolutely wrong. All UEFA are saying is you're not allowed any political kind of emblems, flags, banners, and that's all they've done. And it seems that their rules are probably much more clear cut in that than they are in domestic football. And you can't disagree with the sentiments as people. I would say I can't disagree with the sentiment because I've been to George Square to support the fans against criminalisation as you've been yourself. So I can't disagree with that. Maybe also I think there was an element of it where it was because the referendum white paper was released on Tuesday. I think that all plays into it as well. So it becomes I'm also speaking from. So I think it was probably the wrong thing to do on the Champions League night. I don't disagree with the context around about it, but probably Tuesday night was the wrong time to do it. I'm one of the people that sees no challenge whatsoever with the bloodstained poppy banner from a couple of seasons ago, a couple of years ago. It's obviously causing a lot of consternation. There's probably two very distinct factions in this, and I probably feel I straddle. I probably feel I straddle both, to be perfectly honest, and it's a difficult position to say that I support one side absolutely, categorically, 100% in terms of the support of the banner. I understand the context, and I find it difficult to disagree with what they're trying to address, but also the fact that it's very clear, no political banners. UEFA, you need to, as Kevin says, take that and heed it.
I think there's quite a lot of Celtic fans that obviously agree with the sentiment of it. Where I'm torn is a bit like you, Kev. It's that kind of, if it's going to harm Celtic, and it's very clearly going to harm Celtic, is there any justification for it? At a game of that magnitude, So that's where it becomes really difficult. What's your own thoughts, Brian? I know you've got a mouth for tea cake, but your second one, by the way.
My second one. I didn't hear the question.
Banner at AC Milan, William Wallace.
I thought it was quite clever. I think the real message behind it has been lost, unfortunately.
As it did when we had got the line from the ballad of James Connolly, which said Iraq, Iran, and Afghanistan or something. Sorry, Iraq, Ireland, Afghanistan, no blood-stained poppy on the Celtic jersey. That was James Connolly, who was a socialist, who was not Catholic, who had been in the British Army. It was then regarded, people posed upon it as being kind of sectarian. It wasn't. It could have been further away from sectarian. And that's why they are very clever. They think about these things. I just think probably because of
I think they chose the wrong game to do it in terms of a UEFA match. But my understanding is the SPFL don't have specific rules against political banners. We have rules against offensive banners. And I would be amazed for anyone under well, this legislation is ridiculous anyway, but for that, offensive is subjective, but I'd be amazed for someone to find that offensive. It's an opinion, it's a political opinion. You need to be very careful to silence that, in my opinion. And I think that's what the Offensive Behaviour at Football Act is trying to do. And UEFA have this rule generally, which I don't think the Green Brigade should be breaking. It costs the club money, it costs all of us money. But if that had been used, that same banner in an SPL game, then I would find it very, very difficult to have any complaint against it whatsoever. I agreed with the sentiment. How could you not? I mean, two freedom fighters. One man's freedom fighters, another man's terrorist. And, I think both sides, in terms of that, what went on in Ireland, can be ashamed of some of the things that went on. In the same way, both sides can be proud of the sacrifice that people made. Whether that should be in a football ground, we could argue that forever.
All day. So we're not going to. Okay, thanks for that. We'll move on to the Hearts game, and I'm going to give you the double verified team again.
I think Mickey Boy should comment on that. He's closest to it.
He's joining us.
I was actually just going to say that on the side of the banner about politics and football.
Oh dear.
Kevin touched on it about the build up to the Champions League games this season hasn't been sort of the same kind of buzz about the place. You know, I tend to agree with Kevin on that. On the game, the AC Milan game, we were in the Supporters Club Association at London Road, and our topic for about an hour and a half before it, I don't believe this was Scotland should become, independent, you know.
Yes.
And I think, you know, it's quite funny that the next day at work, boys said to me, "Oh, that was ridiculous, that's politics and all this here, shouldn't have been near football." I says, "Well guys, we're leading up to the Champions League game, we were talking about it before the game, what's that all about, you know?" And John, in our company, I'll not name his second name, like, with the beard, he was the only one for independence.
The only one for it?
Yeah.
Well, can't they get speaking to the
about, I'd say, I think it was 12 days, and he was the only one for it.
Jeez.
Mr. C was totally against it.
I've got a lot of work to do.
On that politicisation of football, it's done when it's convenient for the authorities. It's done when it's convenient for Alex Salmond. It's done when it's convenient. No, it's okay for them to do it, but it's not okay for the supporters to do it.
Of course it is.
And it's double standards throughout. They politicised it when they introduced such a ridiculous piece of legislation, which they're now, it should be repealed. It's shocking. They've introduced a lot of the problem themselves, and I know all we can hear at the moment is Kevin crunching.
I'd like to know who brought the sweets.
I know.
Who's the guilty?
I know. What host would bring hard-boiled sweets to our podcast?
Everton mints.
That is just as
And the
every
1-1 line.
bit as ridiculous as the offensive behaviour at football legislation.
Okay, thanks for that, man.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to the Hearts game, and I'll again attempt to give you the double verified team lineup. We went with Foster, Lustig, Ambrose, Van Dijk, Izagiri, Brown, Mulgrew, Bitton, Ledley, Commons and Stokes. So a really unfamiliar lineup, and the emergence of the diamond midfield that we saw very seldom, but seemed to work a bit of a treat. So, what was your thoughts, Michael, on the Jambos?
Unfortunately, I couldn't make the game, and I watched it on the telly. You were there, Kevin, were you?
I was there.
And I was speaking to Eddie McSheffrey that night. He was at the game, and I was saying to him, Eddie, I don't know what it was like for you watching that, being there, but see, watching it at the telly when there was loads of camera angles and that, I thought Celtic were absolutely superb. I think the key to the game, I know he's might jump in here, was Beton. See his one-touch football. See that analogy of one-touch football on Sunday there, it was just tremendous.
I know he did for me. He did that. He wasn't necessarily playing the side-to-side ball, so he was looking to play the forward ball, and it's what I've saw in this guy. No offence, I've saw this gold guy.
Dundee United.
He seems he's doing that. He's playing those passes almost into space with a bit of vision. So I think you're right. I think Bitton, amongst others, I think he was definitely one of the key
system fitted Charlie Mulgrew big time. I mean, I'm a big fan of Charlie Mulgrew. I know that you just spoke about him loads of times in the podcast. He was player of the year a couple of years ago, and quite rightly so. And when we seen him for Scotland against what was it, Belgium and somebody else, he played him and Brown in midfield, centre midfield, and then he gets slagged for playing there for Celtic. You know, I know guys around this table have got their own position for Charlie, but I think you put him anywhere in the team personally. But that diamond formation was absolutely phenomenal. And do you know what really got me about that? You guys are there, and I was in the car afterwards on the radio, and there was a few of the guys after the game were saying, "Oh, Hearts were really poor." Not one gave the credit to Celtic. That really got to me a wee bit.
I can understand that again to you, but I have to say Hearts were shockingly poor. But by the same token, we made them look even worse.
We gave them a chance to. Usually they'll get the boot in right away, but because of the early goal, they didn't get a chance.
I have to say that was the one big difference I commented to you, Kev, at the time, and I spoke to Kevin on the phone afterwards, and they didn't, from what I've seen in the television, it was really unusual that they didn't put the boot in. Really unusual.
That, as I said, that was partly due to the way we played, because sometimes when you get to 4 or 5 up, you then hold on to the ball for that wee second or two and inviting a lunge, but we were actually pinging the ball so quickly that there was a point where the wee guy Hamill was actually did the triangle run between all three, and all it needed was a player to take an extra touch, and if he'd been in the top of him and if he'd been lunging about 2 yards away, he never got within 6 yards of any of them, and the ball just went touch, and it was absolutely brilliant. It's what I want to see Celtic playing. I've been critical of the way of Lennon's teams recently, and probably as far back into times last season, just passing the ball for the sake of passing, been as bad to watch as Gordon Strachan's teams were in the last 2 seasons that Strachan was at Celtic. And Sunday was exhilarating. I mean, it was exhilarating also because it was them, and I mean, it just couldn't be better. It couldn't be bad. I took Declan. That's the first time he's been to Tynecastle.
Just brilliant.
And honestly, God, so it went to 3-0, and I said to Celtic were pummeling them. They were just ripping them to bits. And I said to the guy next to me, I said, "There's another goal in it for us before half time," and he said, he turned around and he said, "No, I think we'll get 2." And then we scored, and the woman behind me is like, "You might be right, wee man." The next minute, I mean, it was literally a minute later or something, Lustig gets the ball and fires it in, and she's grabbing Declan and jumping up and down with him. It was, honestly, God, it was absolutely, they were sick.
Even the body language, like Ryan Stevenson trying to chase the ball down, like you're saying with Hamill, he tried it a few times. The camera angle on him was brilliant. Watched him, and at the end, he's like, "Where am I here?" His head, he was in a spin.
They were sick. It was great. There was a couple of guys I played golf with that are Hearts fans. It was just brilliant because they had been given it the day before, Saturday morning. Given it, I think we've got a right good chance tomorrow. We're right up for it. Celtic are pushing all this. Oh, it was great.
I was working
so there was emails flying. Sorry, on you go.
There was a couple of hundreds of my work, and the Saturday they were going to watch their game against Falkirk, and they were trying to wake me up. I'll get a wee bet in the Hearts tomorrow. 3-1, good odds. I was like, listen, we'll be back with a bang tomorrow. 5-0 easy. I never expected that. I would have happily took 1-0, but. And I went into work on Monday, and I just said, I was rang about my 5 guys, sorry about that.
But you got something up there.
Absolutely, it was brilliant. When you said they said, bring yous on, Sevco boys.
No, I didn't want to either, but you just go.
I thought Danny McGrain was right what he said as well, but he says they've beat Aberdeen twice this season, beat Hibs, and nobody's gave them any credit, you know what I mean? We totally annihilated them. And I just felt that we didn't get the praise on the telly.
It's the way I want to see Celtic play the rest of this season.
Nope.
It was like being back watching a Tommy Burns team. But Beaton, I totally agree with you. What made it for me? How many times do you watch a player in the centre of the park? And I've got criticism of Scott Brown's Ranger passing. I mean, he shows a lot. He's got a lot of positive traits now that I see, but his passing still probably a bit weak at times. And we get the ball and play it like either left or right, and we play it to the player in a standing position, not in front.
Never
of him.
in front.
Or worse, we play it behind the player so that the player's running and has to check back.
Yes.
The fourth goal, ball comes to Beaton puts it right across the ground, all the way to Lustig. Lustig does the same, and it reminded me a bit of the goal against St Mirren when at Love Street when we won it back.
The passes that came from the left back position from Collins, who played it up the left wing. Izagiri,
he doubled back,
who got it back to Peter. It was just marvellous.
He was making the passes that I watched this young Dundee United guy make, and the last time I remember those decent passes was potentially maybe Collins, but the one that really sticks in my mind was the one where Paul McStay plays and Chris Morris crosses for McAvenny. But in actual fact, he played it. That pass is so far in front. It's you've got to have vision to go 10 yards in front, play the ball into space because you know somebody else is coming. And Beaton seemed to have that vision. He wasn't playing them. It wasn't passes quite as good as that, but at least, as you say, he's playing them in front of people. So you've got to run on it. You've got to take the ball on, and he seemed to make a big difference. And I don't know why we've not tried this formation a bit more often. That kind of surprises me.
I just hope when we go to Fifth Park, we play with the same tempo and the same touch, and then when we come back to Celtic Park, we don't revert to just playing the ball about. I mean, there was times last season when we were saying the only time we looked as if we were interested at Celtic Park was when we went a goal down. But sometimes in the last 20 minutes we would show a bit of urgency because we were either still drawing or we were getting beat.
But the other thing on Sunday was the pitch was good. You go to Fir Park Friday night, and it'll be interesting to see what the pitch is like. It'll be.
I'm just going to come on to that.
I enjoyed. Did you see the picture on Twitter last night?
Motherwell
Ground when
Hampden regret
Hampden or something like that.
Hampden.
It's a big digger just chumming it up.
Just before we move on to the Hearts game, I just want to let you know, just in case you've not seen it, the front page of the sports section, the Herald on Monday. To see the picture, it was absolutely. You need to see it. The full front page is Brown after I think it was
right into Hearts
fans. And there's about 15 of the Hearts fans. There's this one big guy just giving him a finger. Absolutely hilarious.
I'm surprised he didn't get booked. And to be honest, I was gutted because as soon as the fifth went in, all during half time. We want 10. The team came out because the Celtic team was out before the Hearts team, and it was like we want 10. You can see the players just looking straight down. And I was gutted that we didn't actually. And Willie Collins, 1 minute. It was strict substitutions.
That's
He
what I
couldn't
said.
finish the game quick enough.
The commentator said, I think there's only 1 minute added on for sympathy. Right? But you can't change the rules of the game out of sympathy. If it's 3 minutes,
you're winning something.
they're required to be added on, you need to do it.
Darnell Fisher was a stone wall penalty.
I know, that's right.
I know. Taken right out of the
One
game.
other thing I'd like to throw into the equation, I know I'm not a host, Vincent, but is Anthony Stokes. What's your opinion on? I thought he had a mature performance, going deep, spreading the ball about, getting involved, because he could easily just stay up there and not be involved. I just felt he wanted to get involved and he showed a lot of maturity.
It was interesting that no striker scored.
He can be like Samaras and drive you to distraction. There was 3 offsides in the first half, and there was one. He was right in front of the Celtic dugout and looking right across the line. How he got caught offside, it was beggar. But if I was Lennon, I would have been grabbing him with the throat. And it was that close to the line. It was right on the touchline. It was absolutely.
Mark Burchell was the worst of that.
But I was almost thinking whether he'd been asked, because it's no natural for him, but whether he has been asked to play in the last man and he's just not very good at it. But in actual fact, that's a really frustrating one, because it makes him look as if he doesn't give a shit. Do you know what I mean? And he's just kind of
but it's laziness. It's laziness, because all he has to do is take, looking straight across the pitch, take 1 step, and that's all it was. It was marginal decisions. You take 1 step and you're away.
I don't think it's laziness. I think it's awareness, and a lack of awareness when the ball's going to get played, when he thinks that no, it's that. I don't think he's saying, I'm standing here because I can't be bothered, go back a step. I think it's all-round awareness rather than laziness.
Sometimes he may go that step early, but when he doesn't get the ball, he realises he needs to quickly reevaluate and get back on side, because
it's awareness.
No, well, it's awareness. It's making him go offside in the first place. It's laziness. It's not allowing him to get back on quickly, in my opinion.
It's almost as if he just switches off.
So the ball doesn't come, so right, okay, I'll drop the shoulders and I'll just
walk back type thing.
What I'm worried about with Stokes is he started the season on fire. He's got his new deal, and is that him happy? Is he not going to be?
Well, right.
Happens with a lot of players.
It does, aye.
Maybe not hungry, and maybe got the deal. You definitely see that if somebody's needing a deal, they suddenly become very hungry and
Brian McLaughlin. He won with the past.
Funny you should say that.
Played 6 great games all before he was waiting.
Yeah, Grant did that as well.
Maybe. That's Jim
That's
Craney.
for Jim Craney, that one.
Okay,
I was fairly pissed off on Sunday when I got up to the gate and they wouldn't let us into the flag.
I was going to ask you about the flags. Tell us about the flags, Kevin.
So, and you know me, normally I'm quite
calm.
Well, my middle name was just in time. So normally I would have rushed through and struggled to get parked and then ran all the way to the ground. But on Sunday I left in plenty of time, left about once to get through, get parked up nice and early, listen to the radio for 10 minutes, walked to the ground, got there maybe 2:15, and the police came down McLeod Street. The police would say, what's in the flag? And I would say, it's just the club flag, it's just the name of the club. And they're like, it's fine. Got to the turnstiles and they were kind of quite heavy-handed. They were searching everybody getting in, and heavy-handed. They were quite thorough in what they were doing. They weren't letting anybody in without being body searched and stuff. And they asked me to take the flag out, and then an horseshoer came over and says, we're not letting any big flags in. I'm like, what do you mean not letting any big flags in? He's like, the club have said they're not letting any flags in. So he says, I've not advertised that. He says, you get somewhere I can put it and I'll pick it up after the game. No, you'll just need to do whatever you do with it. I said, I'm not happy with that. So he's like, right, I'll radio through and then I come back. No, if you're not happy, just put it in writing to the club. Just no. He says, I know it doesn't help, and they're not. Frankly, the club aren't interested. Hearts aren't interested. It was absolutely raging. Had it been normally, it would have probably been 10-3, and I wouldn't have. I don't know what I would have done, but it was early enough that I could have walked back to the car and put it in the car and get in, and was still in with.
Just put it
20
on.
minutes.
Just wore it.
Wore it as
Hold on a minute.
Like a toga.
Yeah, no, I know. And there was a couple of boys coming down the street with a flag, and I said, look guys, I've just been knocked back with the club flag getting in, and they say there's no any big flags getting in there. They're like wee ones on sticks and stuff like that. And the boys just kept going. I don't know if that was it was the Neil Lennon one that was at the front. But I've got to say, I was mightily pissed because I hadn't advertised it, I hadn't put it in the Celtic website, or I hadn't put it to say like flags aren't going to be allowed.
I was in meltdown, Kev. It was in meltdown. Absolute meltdown.
I wasn't happy.
As soon as you tweeted that.
I didn't even notice it.
Aye, what was it? Meltdown, it was.
Too busy watching it.
Okay, just on the Hearts bit, Lennon.
I blocked you.
Good.
Lennon said it was his best. Do we quickly just
No.
on the table? Do we agree that?
No, I think it's his best domestic.
Performance, maybe.
I think
domestic.
I'll tell you something. She's talking about Fir Park coming up. See if you remember the fixture.
Aye.
3 o'clock game.
2-0.
It wasn't on the telly.
It's
That was
2-0
2-0
going on
10-0.
Aye.
It was. Celtic
Mind
were
it.
brilliant that day.
Family.
And I was at the game and I was raging that it wasn't on the telly for everybody to see it. It was on BBC Alba that night, but honest to God, I thought I think that's up there.
Celtic
could have
really
easily
excellent
been
that day.
6 or 7, easy.
But I suppose 7-0 against Hearts at Tynecastle was pretty special.
Take it.
I wonder many folk had to Google what Utopia meant, but
Take it as one at this table then. The fact that
oh, I was reading about it. Somebody on Twitter about it. What does Utopia mean? Lennon wrote that, and I thought it was brilliant. You know.
Okay, and just briefly before we finish this section up, we have Motherwell on Friday night, live in the Summer House, I might add.
It's also live in Motherwell at
It's
First
live
Park.
in Motherwell at Fir Park. So who's all going on Friday?
I am going.
I'm going.
Right.
What's your thoughts on a Friday night game? First of all?
Fantastic, can't
You're
you
quite happy with that?
Oh, delighted.
I think it's quite
Brilliant.
It's funny how times have changed because when we done a testimonial, I don't know how long ago that had been, 6-7 years ago, we went to have the game on the Friday night and the police said no, because of TV and money, they're letting it. You know,
Okay.
it
Money
was totally,
talks.
it was,
Talks.
and I think Friday night's absolutely brilliant.
I'm excited.
I'm kind of looking forward to
Easy on the weekend now.
I'm a bit panicky right enough because I'm in London on Friday and my flight's not to 3:20 and they're talking about snow and stuff like that.
I've not bought my ticket yet.
Well, just leave your. I'll hold your ticket for you.
No, I'll leave it in the house.
We'll hold it just to make sure.
I've not bought one
How
yet.
much are the
Just for
tickets?
fun.
I'm getting mine off Stephen Lauder.
25
I thought
quid.
25, but
Oh, I've got a parent and child for 25
same
quid.
price.
Aye.
I'm raging about that.
Alright then.
Why you want Stephen to take you as a child?
I could have taken
Could have taken the wee man, eh?
Aye.
There we are. So we're looking forward to Motherwell on Friday night, okay?
TicTalk.
Remember, you can get in touch via Twitter, Facebook, our website and our email address, which is mail@carluckshamrock.com. Now, TicTalk managed to track down Paul Lennon, author of a new book about his son called Bernie Boy and the Ty Tims.
I was give Michael credit. It was Michael
Managed to track down
Paul.
on behalf of TikTok,
I stalked him, aye.
Get credit where credit's due.
Credit where
I
credit's
met
due.
Paul last year when we went to the concert hall. Remember the gig?
Aye.
Times, and I said to him, we'll be in touch, we'll try and do some with the club.
I remember this now because you told him you could have the club flag.
Aye, and we're going to get a new flag and give him the one we've got in it that Kevin uses. It's all coming back to me. And we were going to try and get a sort of charity event done, and Paul turned and says, I'll get the boys and girls to sing a song about your club. Give me names of the guys at the club and we'll make a song up about them and all that. So, and then he brought it up again at the weekend at the Aberdeen game where HailHailMedia Shamrock. And it was quite surreal how he just, the guy who was with him, I'm not sure what that guy's name was.
It's on
that. He turned and he says, where are you from? I says, Carluck. He says, oh, one of you at the TikTok. Straight away he said this. And I says, oh, Mickey boy, right. And who's Vincenzo here?
Boy, you talk fish.
Aye, right, Kevin. He says, did you get a word in for Kevin? Anyway.
He says, where's the loud one?
I thought it was called the Cave Tick.
Aye.
That's what I thought.
You're the loud one, man.
Alright.
So I said to him, one of our esteemed hostesses is in,
Alright,
Mr. Vincenzo. So he went and got him, and basically, I'll let you take on for there.
Aye, so the book's called Bernie Boy and the Ty Tims. So whilst Paul was signing books for the Celtic fans in the association, I managed to
Got one.
break through the crowd and grab 10 minutes with him to find out more. So here it is.
TicTalk.
Hail and welcome to a very special TikTok podcast. My name is Vincent and we're recording this podcast at the association today at the Aberdeen game. We've managed to track down a man called Paul Lennon who's sitting here signing some books. He's written a book
called Bernie Boy and the Tie Tims. So we managed to just grab him here. There's quite a big crowd around about us. I hope you can hear us okay at this book signing. So, hail, hail, Paul. I wonder if you can just give us a wee bit of background to the book and how things are going so far.
Great, yeah, thanks. The book's only been out a week. It's selling really well. It's the story of how the Tie Tims started, how it was a fight for my son who's got Down syndrome to find a place at school, why we started teaching Celtic songs to the kids, and about Raymond Gormley's time in Thailand as well.
I've obviously followed the Tie Tims. We were at there's quite a number of us at the concert through in Glasgow, which was absolutely a fantastic night. I've got twin girls myself, took my twin girls along to that. Absolutely emotional night. They managed to get a photograph with the boss that night as well, Neil Lennon, and a few of the players. So the inspiration for yourself was just to kind of bring the story to a wider audience, etc. But this is just an amazing story. Quite a number of listeners probably won't be aware of the Tie Tims. I wonder if you can just tell us who they are and obviously what your connection is to that.
Well, we're a school in rural Thailand, and when my son was 3 years old, I couldn't find anywhere to take him. So I managed to find this one school to accept him, and I became a volunteer teacher there along with my wife, and that just developed into helping other kids with Down syndrome find a place at school and using Celtic songs as a means of helping there. And today I've got another volunteer along with us, Ian Johnston, who spent a year with us in Thailand. Ian wrote the Just Can't Get Enough song, the famous song that the Tie Tims sing.
Oh, I didn't know that, Ian. I didn't know that, sir. What was the inspiration behind that?
Sheer boredom. We were in doing the kind of songs and all that, and we kind of thought that we could do something of our own, like I played the guitar and there was a lot of spare time in my hands, and it all kind of came about a weird time because we were kind of trying to write it and it was taking ages, but then Raymond died and so I kind of finished off the song and all. So it was really strange because it all came about just before an Old Firm match and all. So it was like the whole kind of cacophony of things just came together and kind of exploded. But to be honest with you, I was glad that Paul's been kind to me in the books, It's like, the amount of times I made an absolute fool of myself out there, it was just unbelievable,
That'll all be in book number 2.
I've noticed following through Twitter, obviously, I think is the Raymond Gormley Hall, is it now open? Is it?
Yeah. We've been using it for a few months now, and Raymond's mum and dad were recently in Thailand with us. We had an opening ceremony there a couple of weeks ago.
I think I saw a picture. Was it the Buddhist monks who were blessing the place? It looked absolutely fantastic.
We built it as the most Celtic themed building we could possibly build because we knew Raymond would love that.
It could not be any more Celtic. Yeah. Where exactly is it actually? Where is it based?
It's about 200 kilometres east of Bangkok, about a 4-hour drive from Bangkok in the direction of Cambodia.
The closest city is Pattaya, and it's about an hour and a half from Pattaya. But it is right out in the sticks. But that's the thing. It's slowly taking over the town. When I first went there, everyone knew who kind of Celtic the team was. You could tell that the jersey's a famous jersey. But by the end of it, they all knew fine well,
it's going to be a site of pilgrimage now for all Celtic fans, If I'm ever in that part of the globe, that's certainly one place I'd love to go and see,
Yeah, definitely.
We used to do our tour guides, around the school and all that sort of stuff, and you do start to kind of feel like, this happened here, that happened there. Some of the stories are starting to get play the eye now, It's a great place, but as I said, we're taking over Thailand one time at a time,
Nice one. So you still over there, are you back?
No, I'm back here. I've been back here for 2 years now.
2 years?
Yeah. I always want to get back across as soon as possible, but it's not came yet,
Nice one.
I got it.
What about yourself? Paul, you now resident over here? Are you?
No, I live in Thailand for the last 12 years. That's the lass who plays the guitar in all the YouTube videos. That's my wife, Pun.
Oh, is that your wife? Right,
that's my wife.
right. Yep.
So that's where it
I remember her
comes
very well from the concert. As I say, the concert was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, all the concert and all the 3 weeks that the kids spent at Celtic Park are all detailed in the book, every word of it, with all the kids' thoughts.
Right.
So you read all about what the Thai teams did at Celtic Park in the book.
Along with over here for at that time, I remember
3 weeks.
They were over for 3 weeks, yeah.
3 weeks, and we were the first people to ever live at Celtic Park.
Right. That's right. I heard about that. Sorry, tell the listeners about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they just said Celtic offered, because we couldn't find any suitable accommodation that would keep the kids together, and then Celtic offered to convert some lounges.
Suite or something.
Those lounges in the North Stand.
The North Stand,
Lounge 7 and 8, and the kids showered every day in the home and away dressing rooms, and the teachers showered in the refs' rooms. It was amazing.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
I do remember at the game that they were at. What game was that? Sorry, that they.
We sang at 2 games, St Johnstone and Hearts.
I don't know what one I remember, but we managed to edge our way around. We kept edging our way around towards them so that we could sit kind of close by. I took a number of faces, and the thing that it's a bit like this picture here, in the front of the book of your son. That's the one memory I have of it, is these beaming smiles. The kids were so happy, and and they were just absolutely inspirational and fantastic. That's my abiding memory of it.
Yeah, it was an incredible story, and it went all over Thailand in the Thai newspapers and Thai press, and it's helped our charity work to promote kids with Down syndrome finding a place at school through that. So it's all snowballed.
So for the benefit of the listeners, then, Paul, where can they get this book? I know that all proceeds for the book go to the Thai Tims directly. Yeah.
Yep, and if it's bought through a Celtic shop, 15% of it's going to special needs kids in Scotland. So it can be bought in all Celtic shops. We're going to have it in Waterstone soon. It's available on Amazon. We're going to be getting it into all the Celtic bars in Glasgow. We're going to get it out there everywhere because just to help the kids.
Okay, smashing. So the book is Bernie Boy and the Thai Tims by Paul Lennon. So get your hands on that. That sounds like an ideal Christmas present to me, Paul.
Yeah, hopefully. So it's going to be a very emotional read. I don't think anybody's ever read it and not cried. So there's a lot of sadness in it, but it's also inspirational. Yeah. And I think everybody can find something in this story for themselves.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, thank you very much. Enjoy the game today.
Sure will.
Okay, good man.
Thanks very much.
Hail, hail.
So there you have it, and Paul's actually tweeted tonight that he will be in the Cross Keys on the 14th of December for a final book signing before heading back home.
Cross Keys Wishaw?
Cross Keys Wishaw, yeah.
The famous Cross Keys and
the famous
Pishy
Cross Keys and Pishy Wishy. So I think you should probably add that to your Christmas list. It certainly sounds a great read, Mick.
Definitely, 100%.
Nice guy, yeah?
Aye. I think there's... don't laugh, there's 30 pages of colour pictures as well, for anybody who can't read. But no, what I will say is when I met the guys in the association, it was $9.99, and all the proceeds are going to the charity, where it's not just like the footballers taking their cut and the club taking their cut and different things. It's going to charity, so it's great.
And the leader, the lady that you see with the guitar leading them all, is actually Paul's wife.
Yes.
Did you not know that?
No.
Everybody knows that.
I'm telling the listeners.
They all know that.
Everybody knows that.
Every listener. Well, it's only.
I feel right. I didn't know, because I thought maybe there would be people listening.
With a guitar.
It's about time you felt like
no. Okay.
Honestly, did you not know that?
I did know that. I'm announcing it.
No, you didn't.
It's part of the podcast.
You didn't. You was shocked.
Oh, jeez.
As if it was some great exclusive TicTalk we're revealing.
I can
Vincenzo's got all the exclusives.
You've got
the Hugh Keevans of it, Vincent.
It's an exclusive. Okay, secondly, after the success of the Maryhill Food Bank collection, Carluke Shamrock have organised a food bank collection of their own, and that's going to be at St Athanasius Hall on Monday the 16th of December between 7 and 9 p.m.
Marvellous.
And if we could bring along tinned or dried foods, household cleaning items, personal hygiene products, monetary donations, and perhaps even toys in good condition for kids for Christmas. So that's a really
excellent.
That's a fantastic thing. I think organised primarily by Johnny and obviously our good friend Ricardo and a few others.
You had the idea to do it.
Planted the seed, but it's quite sad that obviously we need these things in this country, but you could make a massive difference to somebody's Christmas this year by bringing along a donation. So please, see you later, Michael. Please come along and support that. You up for that, Ken?
Definitely. I'll maybe see what I can do for my work and maybe try and get something sorted.
Excellent.
Leave it with me and I'll hopefully be able to sort something out.
And Brian, for something like
You'll be
this,
able to get the ton X tea cakes.
The Unnocks eating cakes.
Biggest variety of Tunnocks in Scotland.
There you are.
Seven different varieties of biscuits.
Right, you're not allowed to advertise your
I've not said where I work, so.
I didn't know Fine Fair were still going.
but you do know that your cousin needs to be supervised for these things, so we need to keep an eye on that.
Did you listen to
This one here, this is Brian.
when we used to deliver the parcels to the old folk and somebody was missing
Primary 7.
somebody was missing a packet of shortbread.
I did hear that one.
And listen,
we don't need any more confession.
No, it's not a confession. All I'm going to say is I didn't really get away with it, because when you look at all the folk in the back of the minibus that day, it was like Ben Duddy, Brendan Craney, Dougie Mooney, all John Coulter, all these wee thin guys, and then it was me. And it was so obvious it was a fat boy.
Go on, said, right, who stole that?
To be fair, everyone you've mentioned is as shady as you, so there's probably half a dozen packets of shortbread missing.
Okay. Where did John Coulter come from? I don't know. That's amazing. I've not seen John in blooming
Hail,
20
John.
years.
Okay, another just a couple of announcements I want to squeeze in. Harper from the Homeboys has been in touch, asked us to promote a Celtic calendar his good lady has produced. I've had a wee sneak preview because he sent me a YouTube clip.
I watched that as well.
And it shows you the making of the calendar, if you like. And it is pretty damn good, I'll tell you. Some stunning models in Celtic regalia. It's called It's a Girl's Thing. And it's definitely another real must for your Christmas list. All proceeds going to charity. So Santa's certainly going to be busy. So have you?
I didn't realise it was models. I thought it was all Harper's ex-girlfriends.
No? I think it could be. Yeah, it could be. I think it is.
That's why. Harper's a big hit with the ladies. He's getting there as well, Kevin.
Is it age appropriate for my 13-year-old son?
It is actually. It is. I think for that. I don't think there's. There's
what I've seen it. There's nothing.
There's some good taste. There's some very good taste.
There's no tits out, but I don't know if your wife would approve of you buying a calendar of young Irish girls.
Well, if it's for a good cause,
if it's for a good cause,
this is
for
a
your son.
difference. This is a difference here. It's for a good cause.
It is for a good cause.
Some of the guys suggested maybe buy it for yourself, but maybe just put it in the inside of your wardrobe or something like that. You know, that you can look at it yourself, type thing. If you're fear to put it up in the wife's present, something.
The back of the toilet door. No, you've got your own toilet. You've got one of the big pussies. He's got his own. Nobody's allowed that.
He's watching that. He's already got one.
I need to take down the FHM one. It's already there.
He's got his own throne.
So a real appeal for Harper there, because all proceeds to charity, so he wants to try and shift as many of the calendars as he can. A great Christmas present, so get online to the usual places, HailHailMedia, and you'll find out where.
And Carrot Shamrock were a big sponsor of that.
They have, I think we're September, I think, in the
but we should have got 2 months, because I didn't know Richard had paid it, and I paid it, right. So the 2 years paid it.
But I think you probably going by Miss September, and I saw that picture, you probably should have had to play double.
Aye, definitely.
Okay. Cool. As we mentioned on the last podcast, we mentioned in the last podcast, the Kano Foundation planning a dinner dance for March next year. Jason Higgins from Homeboys pulling together all the HailHailMedia podcasters to be there, and I think on Monday's podcast he reported that they're rapidly heading towards a sellout. So if you want to be at that, you better get in quick.
It's a great night.
TicTalk guys have got 2 tables, have we?
Well, I'm not. I thought it was one.
I seen a tweet back from Michael saying it was one. He's
one.
Obviously away now.
But I think the last time we went, we had one table, but it was couples. So there was 5 couples there, and
There's been
That
a bit
was
of
2
Twitter
years
debate
ago.
about this. There's been a Twitter debate
Well,
about
see,
this.
it is a dinner dance. And then, but I think Johnny Mackay's leading the crusade that it's singles only.
Can you not have a mixture? Can you just have a bit of both?
Hold on a second.
You probably could, aye.
People were there the last time. There was a table of singles when we went.
Aye.
Well, I was at one, and I went myself.
But you quite like dancing
That was
with
the
boys, don't you?
Kano Foundation. You've not been to that one.
What was that?
Eh?
What one was that?
That was a race night
No, it wasn't.
for wee Oscar.
It was definitely the Kano Foundation.
Right. So I think on hearing some of the podcasts, it's more inclined towards couples, but that doesn't rule out having a table.
I know it doesn't. I mean, well, I'm single anyway, so singles suit me. So,
And if you're stuck for a dance, then
and if the Harper's Calendar girls are coming over,
oh, are they?
Well, that's a rumour.
I don't think it should be couples. Okay, so get in quick if you're looking for a ticket for that. The next agenda item I've got here, and it's more a question. It was to ask whether we want to have any Sevco fun this week, or do you think we should pass? Anybody?
Who?
Sevco United? Anybody? Yeah,
bothered.
just pass them. Can't be bothered either. Just glad that we never got them in the cup. Actually, I'm not mad keen to get them in the cup.
No, I don't want to see them again.
Aye, I wouldn't. I'll not miss them if we never play them again.
Well, we're never going to play them again because Rangers are died. So again, for the first time, you really mean?
Aye,
I'm disappointed. We've got Aberdeen. I would
you want to keep them for later on?
I would have liked to have seen some of the.
That's a final, isn't it?
Better teams getting through.
Aye.
And also, you're hoping that, or I'm hoping that Sevco meet someone decent.
I hope they get Dundee United. I think that would be the best one. I think they would absolutely.
But the problem is the way the draw is going. There's going to be shite teams in the next round as well.
So
And I think I don't know if
semi-final.
exactly
A neutral venue.
No, they're at home.
That's right. Aye. So it's the semi-finals of it.
So they're at home this round, and then the next round's the quarters, and then after that they would be home if they
So
qualify.
it's 2 semis at Ibrox, isn't
Yeah.
it? And final at Parkhead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aye, I would have liked to have seen that. A bit disappointed we've got Aberdeen. Happy that we've got them at home.
Still a tough game, isn't it?
I think it will be. Aye. I can't think of any harder ones that we could have.
Well,
Apart
one
from
of them
Aberdeen away.
Aye, exactly. Aye. But,
Okay.
yeah.
And the Hearts game was Neil Lennon's 200th game. Did you realise that?
Time
Yeah.
flies.
Aye. I heard that on the television,
And
the
I'm
same as
sure-
you.
Aye, the win percentage was somewhere like, was it 53% or something?
I didn't see that bit.
Aye.
Oh, must be higher than that. His win percentage.
I think the European games
I would have had.
Maybe it was higher, maybe I just made that up.
Out of
win
200.
53.
106 wins out of 200.
No, I think it was probably higher than that. I think you're probably right.
See if you're going to come out with stats.
Aye, try and get them right.
Can you do a wee bit more research
Give us
on
the
them
make-up.
rather than just make them up?
Really?
Aye,
Keep it-
see,
90% of stats are made up.
Today was actually starting to be touted for Wigan. You think that would be
Who?
Neil Lennon?
No chance.
Can you see that
Think you
material?
would even consider that?
No.
Interesting. See if you're talking about player or manager rumours.
I don't know if that was what I was talking about.
Manager rumours. He just
okay.
did. He's been touted for Wigan.
Okay.
Is that not a rumour?
Okay.
Or is that fact?
Well, I can't really disclose any more than that. So,
Can you not?
carry on.
Why not? Because you just made it up. I heard last night, I got a text through. This is from a wee mate that he's a lovely guy. Wee Lenny boy.
That means he's a bullshit.
No. He's never told a lie in his life. He's got most things wrong, but he's never told a lie.
Still no lie. Okay.
Knowing it.
No, I'm only joking. He has had a few things right and early. Some of them are funny, right enough. But anyway, the the text last night he sent me was Jelic, £3 million in January.
I would 100%.
And he said he asked me as a question.
Kevin doesn't.
He asked me as a question, would you take Jelic? And I replied back to him, I would drive down and pick him up.
Yep, that's why.
And then he takes.
I would then take him to the key and chuck him into the sea.
And then it come back. It takes me back saying £3 million January.
I'd be ecstatic with that.
That's what he's here.
I'm going to put my
Aye.
right out there. Aye.
I would be.
I can't think of any reason why not to. Any reason at all.
Well, he's not really.
Kenny Miller.
No, it's not. It's totally different.
How?
Because he's a far better player. He's Croatian, so he's not brought up in this
Which
thing.
is worse.
He played.
Worse the fact they signed for them.
No, I think he would be a great signing for us.
I think he would be
No.
outstanding. I think he would score 40 goals.
He would be a great player, and he would
Season.
also make certain people sick as well.
Well, aye, for that alone, you might think because
I mean, I don't even care about.
No, I know. But
I know what you're saying. It's an added bonus,
well, that's it.
but it wouldn't come into my thinking of
again, if they're
buying him.
dead, then it doesn't make much of a difference. The other two rumours were James Vaughan of Huddersfield. I checked out his record: 24 goals in 48 games. So he's got a 1 and 2. But then
He's out of price range.
well, the other rumour saying that Neil Lennon wasn't away to see James Vaughan. He was away to see someone called Danny Ings of Burnley, who has a goal scoring record of 17 and 64, 1 and 3. And they heard of Danny Ings.
I haven't. I have to be honest. I haven't heard him.
No, it's a new one in me.
17 and what?
64.
That's not that great. What division's
1
that?
and 4.
Eh?
So that's closer to 1 and 4.
But what division? What team? What league are they in?
Burnley and Huddersfield are in Championship, maybe? I don't know.
Bring back Richard.
Who did this research for you?
You shite, man.
Your researcher needs bumped.
Well, I'm hoping you've got a bit of knowledge on the table.
The fountain of all knowledge. Pish.
You'd be totally what the wrong thing happens. We don't even know he's in Celtic. That's a life.
But it did make me go and do just a wee bit of research.
A wee bit of research. How many goals have we scored?
But what I wanted to look at actually was, because you start to get the feeling that almost Neil Lennon couldn't pick a striker to save himself. So I went back and just checked Celtic Wiki actually, just to find out who are the strikers that he's bought.
Pukki, Bangura.
Pukki, Baldy,
Bangura.
Lasad,
Murphy.
Miku, Brozek.
Thomas Brozek.
Did he score any goals?
I don't know
I
the
don't
English.
think he came on as a sub one game. I think that was it.
So I think that's it. Pukki, Baldy, Lasad, Brozek, Bangura, Miku, Hooper,
Murphy.
Well,
he brought.
And he
Did he
didn't
not
buy
bring
Stokes.
Did he not bring Stokes?
Aye, he did.
I thought he did.
Aye, Lennon signed Stokes.
You sure?
100%.
Aye,
100%
because that's what we said at the time. I can remember saying Lennon signed Sunderland's reserve strike force 2 seasons ago or something at the time, and it was Murphy and Stokes.
So when you look at that lineup, but it's the one area that, and I know it's maybe one of the most difficult areas to pick after to get a success, but he really has struggled there. And that's maybe too early to judge Pukki and Baldy.
So would he
also signed Hooper.
Yeah.
So, but what do you do? You're on record on this podcast lauding John Park to the high heavens. So are all the successful ones John Park and all the duds Neil Lennon?
No,
it's like he's never won. He's never won a big game.
It's a very good point.
So he's got a scouting network there.
Yeah,
that doesn't look that impressive a list, but I wouldn't lay that all at his door.
I'm Lennon. If I say Neil Lennon, I'm meaning his team, John Park and Neil Lennon. And whilst we do give him the credit, John Park, you've got to look at that and think, which is potentially why he's now saying that he's going to almost concentrate on a more British type player. And I wonder if he's kind of given up and whether it's too much of a risk or a hit or a miss going abroad for some of these guys.
I have to say I'd be interested in the number of them, the strikers that haven't worked, or generally the players that haven't worked, where they were in the list So obviously Celtic, Peter Lawwell will negotiate with the club and say, it's going to be achievable that we can get this guy, or no, it's no. And I would like to understand. You'll never find that out, to be fair, but it would be interesting to know.
And you're right, you won't find that out, but what you could find out very easily is, if you look at each one of those players, how many, and it goes back to Paul 67 has had a number of articles on this, the kind of Moneyball thing, signing players, how many games. So you're talking about two English players you mentioned. One's played 64 games, one's played 48 games, I'm sure you said. And you actually look at some of them, so Bangura didn't play that many games and had a ratio, so you're trying to get in there before he becomes a big thing, but he has a good enough record that you're willing to take a punt. The big boy that they've signed, Balde from the Portuguese club, I'm sure will be the same. And some of the other players you've mentioned
there. I think he's got a bit in him, right enough, Balde. I think there's something there.
So I think you'll find lots of those players in that list have got a similar number of appearances to the guys that you've mentioned playing in the Championship or the First Division or whatever they happen to play in the research. I'm going to give you that information.
But you're trying to, yes, you're right, you're trying to get the players that have got the most potential with as few games as possible to show they're out of the radar of the bigger clubs. But the other thing with that is Celtic are willing to sign 6 or 7 for the one success.
I guess you've got two arguments here. That's the most expensive area of the field. If you want to go and buy somebody who's already established, then it's going to cost you a lot of money. So do we try and almost add up what we've paid on these guys to try and get a decent finished product?
No, but the problem,
do we have to mine?
The problem doing that.
Do we have to mine and try and unearth a gem?
I'm going to answer it.
I'm going to finish your question once I'm finished, you can answer.
Andrew, what are you going to say? It's not a question. It's just a big long statement.
And unearth a gem, which one did we hooper right?
You're repeating yourself.
Carry on, son. Carry on. Floor's yours. That's better be.
I'm not answering it.
See, this is what it goes down to Kev.
What I was going to say was
I forgot.
See, that's all your carry on.
I want to hear this answer.
No, but what I was going to say was what you've identified, right? If you count that up and it comes to 10 million, why don't we buy a striker at 10 million? So one, there's a risk that striker at 10 million isn't going to be a success as well, albeit there is more chance he will be. 2, Celtic can't attract a £10 million player to Scottish football. 3, it would totally destroy the wage structure. And 4, there would be no profit sell on. So there's a number of reasons why that won't happen. Our days of signing those kind of players are over.
Sorry, you maybe misunderstood me then. I wasn't talking about a £10 million player. What I actually think is, if we're
you said a finished product.
I did, that's exactly what I said. But what I think we're doing is, if we go for example, I think Baldy and Pookie are in the 2 to 3 kind of £1 million players. What I'm suggesting is no a £10 million player, but maybe going and stretching towards somewhere like 4 million, where you're not getting the absolute complete finished product, but you're getting a better chance. So I think taking a chance. Bangura was a couple of million as well.
He'll be back, remember?
Yeah, the sheriff's on his way back.
January, aye.
What's your own thoughts, Kev? What do you think?
Bangura
or just generally in terms of strikers? Do you think we've wasted money, or do you think that's just what we have to do to get to unearth a gem, or what?
I think I was swaying towards what you were saying about just putting all our eggs in one basket. If you say it's 10 million, maybe 6 million you could get.
You've still got the same. But you don't. One, you don't get a finished article, and 2, you still get the same problem with the wage structure and attracting a £6 million player to Scottish football.
The 4 points that you made there, Brian, I totally agree. And after you saying that, I probably have to think we are doing the right thing. It might not have the results yet, but I think we're left without a choice.
And I think he's maybe going to change tack slightly by the looks of it, and maybe start to go more British, where he might think he's got a better chance of somebody that can settle and maybe adapt a bit easier than some of the foreign players. What about yourself, Kevin?
Jelic is proven in the Scottish game.
Oh, definitely, aye.
Sorry to interrupt.
Definitely. I'm not sure how
Kevin's really excited about the prospect of Nick Keach
contemplation.
playing in the hoops.
He's in contemplation, and what's going to come out here is going to be worth the wait.
It's wisdom. Wisdom.
He says in this podcast it's never been worth the wait, frankly.
Well, it's never a truer word said. Moving on.
What do you think?
I think we're behind it, to be honest, because Brian's points are valid about signing a better class of player, and to be honest I can't even see Finn Bogason at 5 million. Did they have any inclination or any insight that he would have wanted to come to Scotland? Because you would have thought they would have, once they got in the Champions League, they could have, if they really wanted him, pushed the boat out, which makes me think that probably even that he didn't want to come, or even at that he wasn't. He maybe wasn't regarded as even much closer to the finished article than maybe Pookie or Baldy. So I think it's really difficult unless you've got any insight and inside track on these things. Then all you do is speculate, and it's one of the frustrations I have on things like Twitter when people
go off their head
about different things, a whole raft of things, from Peter Lawwell to the way Celtic Quick News represents.
It's as if we would have won the Champions League if we had signed Finn Bogason. Sometimes when you, do you know, I would love us to be in a position to sign a guaranteed 40-goal-a-year striker. I would love it if we could do that, but it's just not going to happen. It's not a realistic expectation.
Even the guys like the quoted, like, is it Charlie Austin and who was the other one at Southampton? I know they're not, but they're more of it's a poacher, it's a guy that's going to be in the box to do. That's the one thing we don't have, and that's not what Pookie is.
What value are you getting in the English market? What value are we getting?
And last night
the wages are exorbitant, the players are overpriced, and we're competing against championship clubs who can afford more in wages than us. Championship clubs. So I don't see the value in us signing these guys. Gary Hooper was a good player, but he wasn't the best striker I've seen at Celtic Park. He was a decent player, but that was...
But what I'm trying to say is that mould of player doesn't exist at the minute at Parkhead. Is the guy that will sniff it out, the guy that's poaching. We don't have that, and everybody can see it. It's plain as the nose in your face, and that's the bit that for me is missing. And I think Neil Lennon did actually mention, I don't know if it was after AC Milan or maybe the previous week, that he had missed out on, was it 4 targets, he said? He just kind of mentioned that when his press conference.
I think it was after the Milan game.
Was it 4 strikers?
Aye. And he's after one of the earlier European games, I think it was the game away. No, it was after we had actually got through against into the Champions League, and he mentioned then about not having the support of the board.
Early on, I think.
So Kevin's right. You don't know. None of us know exactly what's going on behind. Neil Lennon could be the best identifier with his team of strikers known to man.
We've just not got one of them,
and he's just not got. Peter Orwell's no secured any of them. So we don't know what is, and what we can all see is some of the ones that have been signed, and in my opinion, in particular, Pookie, who I've seen amateur players with more potential. I'm sorry to say. I hope he turns out to be a star, but I just don't see it. On the other hand, and this might be a bit going against the grain, I think Baldy has shown a wee flashes of being a decent player, and he's still very young, and he knows where the goals are anyway.
I agree, but I also think I've seen bits in Pookie that actually there could be a player, but he's no a poacher.
I don't see it in his movement. I don't see it.
His record of goal scoring wasn't
great.
We're talking about this speed. Right. I've not noticed
any.
He's
got a great touch, and he can
He's got a good touch. I think he's got quick feet.
His movement, people have been saying, but I've not seen that either.
I've not seen any move decent. But it can take players time to settle. But you think, I just get the feeling he's like, Celtic are too big for him. That's what it looks like. Celtic is too big a club for him.
And that's understandable as well.
Do you know, from a perspective of bringing folk in, and vast majority of them, if not all of them, I think, vast majority in that list are come from overseas. I would think they don't have much of an understanding of how big Celtic is, and probably how, not just how big the club is, but how intense it is.
I think it's that. It's
the
that
intenseness of being constantly
expected to win as well.
Media, fans, everywhere you go, people either liking you, loathing you,
knowing you, recognising you.
I just think that kind of intensity would surprise me if these players actually join Celtic with any kind of comprehension of what that's going to be like. And I think that, to me, that's always why, as far back as Kelvin Wilson and people before him, give these guys a chance to try and find their feet. And I used to always mention that with the Alan Stubbs one. I mean, Alan Stubbs, when he joined Celtic, was a young guy, do you know what I mean? He's been touted for England, and Tommy Burns managed to get in there in a pre-contract before all the English clubs had reacted. And when he joined for the first 6 months to a season, you couldn't believe it. You were like, what have you done? This guy mentioned for England, he must be having a laugh. And then he kind of grew into a key player for us. And
that's what happened with Wilson as well.
There's been umpteen, and I just think sometimes with defenders, I'm more inclined to give them a wee chance to settle for some odd reason. Strikers, often you make a decision much quicker, and you think, I've not seen anything, therefore that's him written off into the scrap heap. And to be honest, I'm more worried about the number of people that are on that list who are still at Celtic who will have no chance of getting a game. So Bangura's going to come back. You can't imagine he's going to, not least the fact he played against us and there was an adverse reaction amongst the fans because of that. But and even from Neil Lennon said, look, it's the best interest for a guy if he didn't play, we're paying his wages, he could put us out, type of thing. And
is it another year?
Possibly. So, but I look at him and I look at the players that we've signed in front of him, and even guys like Baldy and Pookie aren't really getting a great deal of game time. And that kind of concerns me, because I think strikers do need to try and give them 4 or 5 games to at least fit into a style of play, and but who knows.
Okay, so we'll see what happens in January. One other piece of news I picked up tonight was the King of Kings is now the new manager of Swedish side, Falkenberg. Did you see that? Tonight?
That's news to me.
Do you think he's going to be a future Celtic manager? What's your thoughts there?
No, I can't see it.
Hiding ain't nothing.
Aye, I know.
The only way, I mean, he couldn't achieve any more legendary status unless he came in and won the treble.
But I guess he could come back and waste it a bit, couldn't he?
That would be my biggest concern. Tarnish.
I know one is you want to bring him up, but look at Sevco with a fat pie eater.
That's a great example.
I mean, he is their best striker ever, and half of the zombies hate him.
The other half just loathe him.
No, the other half, I think, tolerate him because of his. But I mean, he's never a manager.
No, I don't know, a new world record.
I know, that's right.
14 games, 14 wins, 14 league wins in the trot at the start of the season. Another world record for Sevco.
Brilliant.
Do you follow this boy, this Evening Times reporter, Jack or something like that?
No.
I'll need to retweet some of his stuff.
Is it another one?
Aye.
Because there's that other guy, Matt Lindsay,
aye. So there's
this
boy,
I
believe he hails from this fair village.
Is that right? Yeah?
What's his name?
Paul Jack or something like that.
This must be just a made up name. I'll be Matt Lindsay, just with another name.
Paul Jack's 84 or something like that.
Some of the things that
so he's an Evening Times reporter, and he obviously follows Rangers everywhere, and he was at the Forfar game last night. He's like, Ibrox looking resplendent. I hope hope it's a better score than the last time we played Falkirk or something like 4-4. And you're like, it's hardly impartial. Meant to be trying to get at least.
Well, it is in Glasgow Evening Times. But see that Matt Lindsay's tweets? I actually thought he was a parody. They're so ridiculous.
Is that bad? Is that bad?
I don't follow him.
I don't follow him, but I just see.
No, I don't.
retweeting.
You see people retweeting it, and then, so I just say it's quite funny.
Okay.
So we gotta look at that.
And my final, very short topic was just around the winter break. So Celtic have moved the early January game to the end of January.
I've seen a few tweets of guys going ballistic over this.
The one I saw was actually because
he booked a hotel.
Well, there was one I saw was because the Kano kids, I think there'd been about 40 or 50 kids organised to go to this game. What's the early game? Is it Partick Thistle at home maybe?
No, but I thought that game was
That's
going ahead.
That's the 1st of January.
4th of January. It's a Kilmarnock game on the 11th. It's cancelled.
Must be that game then. Because they've done all this organising and have to change it.
Right.
They're still playing New Year's Day. Is that game still on?
I thought that was a Partick Thistle game.
That's a Partick Thistle
I
game.
thought that was the 4th. No, well, aye, that's still on then.
Aye.
So it's only the Kilmarnock game. It's
It's St Mirren's. I think we're playing St Mirren after Partick.
Is that what it is?
Aye,
Right,
the weekend
okay.
is just the Saturday or Sunday, whatever date that is. I don't know.
It's the 11th we play. We were supposed to play Kilmarnock, and that's the one that has been postponed.
What's the reason for
They've taken up an option of having
just
a mini,
to have
a mini break.
Right.
They have the option. Why have they got the option?
So I'd imagine all the clubs have got the option.
Right, okay.
And is
And I think it takes both clubs to agree
Right.
to do it,
Because that's why the game in
because they wanted to actually
June the 1st.
they wanted to do it in the New Year's game, but obviously who is it? Partick Thistle didn't agree.
because it gives them an extra day to prepare for the game at the weekend that they have. They must be playing on the Sunday that weekend or something rather than the Saturday.
What's your thoughts? I mean, I don't feel strongly about it, I must admit.
I don't. It's a bit off. If it could have been planned
Done a
better,
month ago then it's
aye, it's a bit off. But then you don't know. Again, we don't know.
Guys that
what's-
book flights and
it's not
hotels,
fair, mate.
That's aye. So maybe the club should look at
compensation.
Aye,
reimbursing or
Aye.
seeing what they can do, or maybe not even reimbursing them. Say, look, for the rearranged game, we'll do something for you.
Yeah.
At least do something, because it's a lot of money. It's hard enough trying to get
Especially
the
at that
ground
time of
full.
year.
Aye. So I've got a lot of sympathy for people that have booked, and the Celtic should be able to plan these things far better.
Aye.
There's no reason why they shouldn't be able to do that further in advance.
Okay, so that's the last of our hot topics and news.
Tick tock, 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 tock.
Shambolic.
Okay, thanks Chico. So for Shambolic tonight, I threw it to the panel the following. Who have been the most skillful players to have donned the hoops? Not necessarily the best players, but those with the most skill you have seen or not seen. Kev will qualify that. So who wants to kick off first?
I'll go first, because it was just one that came as soon as I read the text. It was the one that came to my head, and he's been in the media a lot recently. And honestly, it was the most skillful player I'd seen. He's obviously a troubled and not very pleasant character, but Paolo Di Canio had bags and bags and bags of skill. Just amazing touches. And
Probably not the most effective actually, but I remember, because I always remember he used to beat four and then go back and try and beat them again.
No, Di Canio for me was absolutely outstanding as a football player, as a Celtic player giving 100% for the jersey every time, and it got to the point. I remember when we got beat with Falkirk in the semi-final, the replay, and it
was a one-man team, wasn't it?
It was a monsoon, and every other Celtic player on the pitch was a coward, because all they did all night, every time they got the ball, was give it to Paolo Di Canio, and took no responsibility themselves, to the extent that we were sitting in the Govan stand that night. you could actually see the Falkirk players with about 15 minutes to go. They just put 5 players on the canal, and there was, so that then left lots of space for our Celtic players, and they still didn't have the brains to actually try and break Falkirk down directly. They still tried to give it to Powell all the time. It was absolutely. I feel
great memories of him. Golden boot game up at St Audrey, Boxing Day, and then Big Steph O'Neill nearly broke his leg that day when that goal went in. It was just marvellous. We thought we were going to win the league that year.
We should have won the league,
and we should have won.
The league. The only reason we didn't win the league because we couldn't win one of the 4 games against them. And I'll get back to my whole Scottish Cup Thursday night being brought forward, rant and rave.
Was that the same season with John's cadet registration getting up?
Well, that was the offside goal, Ibrox, to make it 2 each.
I mean, you couldn't even blatant cheat. You couldn't give it offside, but you still did.
Yeah, and then when they realised, it was handball. Knock him off his chest. Like, never a handball in a million years.
It's just, so on that one, the Canio, and probably the second one that I would pick, and I think this game was against the Hearts.
You've got to see Bum.
And he controlled the big high ball out the air with his arse.
That was at that game, I thought.
Just marvellous. Marvellous.
That was Lubo.
Lubo,
I don't think he'd say
so
Lubo.
That's, I hadn't said Lubo, I was going to say
nonchalantly
Lubo.
just away as if, what?
It was the
what
best
was the
thing.
anything?
And the boss coming down, and he turns around, and everybody in the stadium's like, what the fuck's he doing? He controlled it with his arse.
Lubo was the first player I thought of when I seen the question.
Well, see, the reason I thought of Di Canio was because he said it doesn't need to necessarily be your best player. No, and I've got a third, and it's my final one.
Third and final.
And I seen him run down the YouTube. I think it was on YouTube. Seen him run down the wing. And know that where you flick your ball with your heel over your head, and he done it over the defender as well and got it to the other side, and he had great skill, and it was Jackie Jakanowski.
He had fantastic skill, actually. He did.
He was scored some great goals as well for us.
Great player.
Partizan Belgrade game will live long in the memory of. Imagine scoring 4 goals in Poland and still going out. And the jungle that night, it was like, what's going to be in there about?
We scored 5.
I know, but Jackie scored 4. Joe Miller, I'll never forget the end of that game when it was at 5-3, and Joe Miller was...
Take back!
No, he was right through and goals, and he didn't cut it back. He didn't square it. And then the corner flag, he lost the ball at the corner flag.
It was his man that would gallop him down the wing, and you're like, come back, cover
that boy
the ball,
with the tights.
That was a sickening, right?
I want to say, I mean, we've had some excellent players. I mean, the Larsons, the Suttons, the Harpsons, the Lubos, even Cadet.
I need to say, I get off my head when I hear this in the radio. The Lubos, the Harpsons, there's only one. John Harpson, there's only one.
I hate that radio, sorry.
Derek Johnson does it all the time.
It's been great to have seen players like that, and to be honest, those are probably I would be surprised if I get to see that kind of quality of player consistently over the next 20 years of my life, if I'm lucky out.
I wouldn't describe them as the most skillful, though. Great players though they were. I wouldn't.
The top 3: Larson, Di Canio, and Lubo. I can't think of 3 more skillful players I've seen.
Sorry, I was talking about you just mentioned Sutton and Harrison. They wouldn't spring your mind as skillful, great players, but.
Well, I mean, the other one Kevin's mentioned, Larson, and when you think of these things, I think of moments of when that sublime skill, and the one with Larson with me is the 6-2 game, and the Meg on Conterman, and then the lob, of course. And do you know, I'm sure Stefan Kloss must be sitting in fucking Larson's mantelpiece because he lobbed him. How many times? He just lobbed him. As soon as Stephen Close must have been like, oh fuck, I'm going to get lobbed again. As soon as you seen Larson coming through,
Lobbed again.
Oh,
there was a couple actually folk who couldn't make it tonight, and I did a wee bit of research, so I'll be entirely accurate. And these are guys that we haven't saw, so I'll mention them now. I haven't saw. Andy Ritchie was one that was mentioned. Anybody saw any of Andy Ritchie? I've saw some brief kind of YouTube stuff, but that's it. He wasn't a guy that so that was one of Johnny's. George Connolly.
I've heard a lot of George Connolly. You hear McGawkey and John Haddon and talk about Jim Craney talk about George Connolly, and but before
their time. But I don't think he played many games for Celtic, did he? It was probably a season and a half, and it was one of these players that was felt was a terrible loss because he did show so much potential.
There's a lot of stories behind that. Well, sorry, see, it's in my head because he scored a goal last night. And he's got unbelievable skill.
That's with my guy.
I'm surprised. You see it.
They've got to laugh.
Scored a goal last night. Unbelievable skill. Paddy McCourt, 30 years too late. If he was born with George Best, he would take that.
You go onto YouTube and you watch one of these videos of his compilation Celtic goals. I counted them last night. There's 20 goals. About 20 goals.
20 goals in the season.
You would say, oh my God, did that just happen?
Yeah.
Honest to God,
just fantastic. It's funny how you forget it.
He's already scored 2 of them this season already.
Aye, down there. They showed one Sky Sports New, and Paddy McCourt scores another outstanding. And see when they showed you, like, oh, that was kind of average for Paddy. He only beat 3 men, played a 1-2, and then sorted it in the corner.
Parker scored 2. And they were absolute crackers, unbelievable. And the amount of times, literally just at the halfway line, he's went by about 6 or 7.
The one I remember
even there
was Love Street.
I love the way he weaves.
I know Love Street. Use and Mirren. When it was last minute and we were struggling.
It was some finish as well.
Just
was that maybe St Johnson game?
St Johnson game was we won 4-1.
Falkirk was it Falkirk?
He scored. They lobbed the one in Falkirk.
I love
the way he weaves and almost ghosts.
That's what you say. He just jinks it.
His balance
shoulder,
dips
his shoulder.
Do you know who mentioned as well? Maybe Nakamura. I think he was very skillful.
He was a fantastic player.
Maybe he could score for 45 yards against the Zombies.
I think he definitely deserves
it. Anybody that can hit the ball through the open window of a moving bus deserves to be on it. So 25 yards, 30 yards to win some woman 100,000 million yen.
And actually, see if you watch the Man U goal, but how.
Which one?
Absolutely perfect.
See the one down at Old Trafford? It was just as good.
I think the only reason we talk about the other one is because
it won the game.
Remember that night we didn't even know we were through?
Did I tell you the story? I worked with a guy called Alan Hill, right? And this guy, big massive guy, 6'6", rugby player, Morris dancer, seriously, cricket, would go to Australia and watch England play in the Ashes, right? He'd been to the England World Cup, the Rugby World Cup in South Africa. Australia.
South Africa.
Was it? When they won it, when they beat Australia in the final. Been to all these massive sports events. He was at the Celtic Man U game that night at Celtic Park when Nakamura scored that free kick, and he instantly became a Celtic fan. And he said he has never ever experienced an atmosphere like that, or and here's Man Ecker standing up now. When that goal went in, he says, I have never experienced anything like that, and I don't think I ever will. And he was he'd been to these biggest sporting thing. I mean, for a night, you couldn't meet a more English guy. And when they won, that was his big thing, when England won the World Cup in rugby, and he said the atmosphere wasn't anywhere near what that was.
That was a particularly good night, all the same.
And
The other couple of ones I just picked out were...
Was that the night? Sorry, just
the penalty.
Aye, the penalty.
That's right, aye.
Because
They think they do
that story's just...
game's unbelievable.
Because it was never a penalty.
Was it one ball that saved? Was it the same game then we went through after it?
Aye.
See, you think about that, the events of that game. The goal with Nakamura, and then the penalty save, and then we go through. See if you had known, obviously you're nervous enough, especially when you got a penalty then, you would, but see if you had known, how bad would it been if you known you were going to go through?
Attack, man.
Nobody knew.
Aye.
Am I right in saying that?
Well, few people knew after the game that
some
you
had
were
worked
through.
out, but actually some had the eye.
Because Gordon Strachan didn't know.
I know.
At the end of the game.
Fantastic.
So anyway, aye.
Another couple of ones obviously that we haven't saw, Patsy Gallagher, Charlie Tully, scoring
Charlie
goals
Tully,
for corner kicks and
retake it. Retake it.
Aye. Fantastic. I know Brian will know who Mohammed Salim is. Brian, you familiar with Mohammed?
No.
And this just came up from some of my research, but a 1930s player, first Indian to play in Europe for Celtic.
Is this
He
the player
with
played bare
bandaged
feet? Aye, I do remember reading that.
And apparently he was very skillful. He came up as
I played in his bare feet.
1930s. First Indian player to play in Europe, played for Celtic.
Aye.
And actually the picture I saw...
There is a picture,
was him
I've
getting
seen
his
it.
feet bandaged before a game. It sounded phenomenal, absolutely fantastic. So that was quite a good one, but I would like a plea out to our listeners. If you have any suggestions for shambolic discussions that you'd like to throw at the panel, please get in touch, because it's getting
credit where
harder
credit
and
due.
harder.
Credit where credit's due. Normally your shambolics are pish.
That's right.
This week it was quite good.
Well, I've got a wee extra shambolic. I call a shout out to my nephew.
Which one?
Young Ross. I don't know if you've seen it, the game on Sunday.
He got hit in
the ball went into his helic end, it didn't come back out. It was like a couple of minutes for the end, so he then tweeted me. He then tweeted out, he, we've got your ball.
Brilliant.
And
He's got a Hearts badge on.
He was in the Celtic end.
Aye. So he's got the Hearts.
He's got the match
Hearts
ball.
March ball there.
By the way, he's no your nephew. You don't even know him.
I suspect it's not him that's got it, because he was on the Salt Market bus.
Any chance?
Although he's probably mad, he's no quarter as mad as some of the.
So we don't condone theft, obviously, but that's quite...
No, we don't.
Brilliant.
So,
okay,
well
guys.
done, Ross. That's shambolic, mate.
And on that note, we're going to wrap up. I'm Vincent, at Vincenzo Sir on Twitter, and our panel tonight have been...
Brian.
Kevin.
Kev.
Okay, thanks very much. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail, hail.
The thing I want to see the most is the Glasgow Celtic score. I've been to Munich, been to Paris and Berlin. I watched injustice fall upon you in Turin, and I've shared the pain and glory with the friends that I have made as I dance from place to place in green and white on a worldwide tin parade.